Over the past 3 years, we've sent over 30 million cold emails on behalf of ourselves and our clients. That's across hundreds of different niches, different types of companies, to different personas, different roles. We've seen it all. And thanks to those cold emails, we've closed well into the 7 figures for ourselves, and God knows how much pipeline we've generated for clients at this point. So I think it's safe to say we've got this down to a science. So what I want to do in this video is walk you through step by step what you need to implement in your business to go from 0 to booking in more calls and closing more sales using cold email. Let's get started. All right, let's run through everything you can implement to start getting these cold email campaigns off the ground. I want to start with messaging. So personalization, you hear a lot about this all the time. Now, there's good ways to do personalization and there's corny ways to do personalization. Calling out their school mascot, for example, is not exactly the best way to go about using these amazing AI tools that we've been given. How do you want to use them? Well, pretty much exactly how you would have done sales account research 15 or 20 years ago. You go check out the prospect. What's everything we can find on them on their LinkedIn? What's their role? What are their goals likely to be? And then same thing on the company side. Has the CEO been saying things on earnings calls? Are there press releases that they put out that we can use to figure out the best angle to take when reaching out? That's exactly the sort of thing you should be doing. Let's just use AI to do it at scale. Storytelling. Let's not forget what makes a good story also tends to make a good email. So if we can tie it to competitors or people in their space and make it relevant for them, it's going to hit a lot better than something generic that just talks about your own service, right? If they don't feel like it's for them, they're not going to be as interested. With respect to subject lines, which I get questions about all the time, what's the perfect subject line? The answer is the more boring and innocuous, the better it tends to work. Don't worry about laying out the point of your email in the subject line. In fact, that's a great way to get them to dismiss you offhand without actually looking at your message. What you want to do is keep it vague enough that they want to open the message and see more. That's why quick question is still the greatest of all time. Now, I think it's a little bit more played out and people get that it's a sales email subject line, but it still works because it's intriguing, but it doesn't give away the plot. With respect to call to actions, very simple dichotomy here. Do you do what's called a hard call to action, shoot straight for the call or the meeting or the sale, or do you do what's called a soft call to action? I know for my part, you're going to see a lot more success with soft call to actions than you are with hard. So you're going to get many more replies, you're going to get more at bats, and if you've got the bandwidth to work those sales, that is 100% the way to go. So think worth a quick chat or interested or something along those lines that gives them an out, but is really open and gives a lot of opportunities to respond. Don't just go straight for the sale when you don't even know if you're in the door yet. Keep the language really focused on them, okay? If we're going back to Dale Carnegie, this is basic stuff. Nobody wants to hear about you. They only want to hear about themselves. So think about what their challenges are probably, or what they're trying to achieve in their role, or what their motivations might be, and gear your language and your presentation of your offer around those needs. Don't make it all about you. It's easy to do a feature dump and talk about how amazing your product or your service is. It's tempting, but it never works. Along these lines, you're going to want to think about a pain point first approach. So immediately address a relevant pain point in the email. Again, features don't sell anything. The benefits, though, they do. And benefits generally derive from you solving some form of pain that they're in. And keep your emails under 50 words as a rule. It should be concise, easily scannable. They should be able to immediately understand what you're talking about. If they see a wall of text when they open your email, they're just going to delete it. They're not going to read it, and you're going to see much lower success rates with your cold email campaigns than if you opt for under 50 words. And frankly, you should challenge yourself to cut it down even to 30. You're going to see better and better performance. The Microsoft filters especially definitely take content length into account. So something to keep in mind and an easy win to throw on the board. Social proof. If you've got it, anchor around it. So if you've got case studies, testimonials, big name brands that you've worked with, let's work those in. But again, you don't need many of them. You just need enough to know for them to know, hey, you're not a guinea pig here. Links and multimedia. You don't want them in your campaigns at all. So you need to be sending your cold email campaigns as plain text only whenever possible. Any multimedia, whether it's images or a video or an attachment or a link, All of those things are going to destroy your deliverability if you're corresponding with this person the first time. Now, a lot of people say, well, hey, I'll take the hit. It's worth it because I want them to see this piece of material. Trust me, you don't, because they're not going to see it. They're not going to see your email at all. Now, what you can do is invite a response that lets you then send them the material that you want them to see. Hey, we created this custom presentation. Can I send it over? Hey, we've actually got a gallery of these images that we did for this developer. Can I send over a link? And then if they reply, game on. You can send whatever you need to send because now that correspondence is established and the likelihood of you going to spam at that point is quite low. But on that first email to a cold prospect, you need to keep it plain text, no links, no multimedia. A/B testing. Now, some people take this too far and they'll test 36 different variants and you really don't understand what the signal from the noise is at that point. So I would keep it relatively simple. One or two differences, maybe a subject line difference or an angle that you're discussing in the email could be different, and load up 1,000 prospects for each variation, but keep an eye on it. If it's a day or two later and one is clearly the winner, I would stop the underperforming campaign. I would download all of the contacts, eliminate anybody that replied, and then take the people that didn't reply, which is always the majority, and upload them into the winning campaign and feed that one more leads. You always want to feed your winners and kill your losers as quickly as possible. Now let's talk about targeting and segmentation. I think if you're just getting started, you can get lost in all of the possibilities. And so I want to keep this really simple. Role-based targeting. What is their job? Let's customize it to, hey, this is for VPs of marketing. This is what I would say to a director of sales. And don't go beyond that at the very beginning, especially if you're just learning tools like Clay and all of the possibilities. Buying signals. So targeting prospects based on indicators like funding announcements or hiring activities. Are they hiring a bunch of people? Are they laying off a bunch of people? Are any of those indicators that they might be ready for your product or service? Technology stack. What are they using? Can you use a tool like BuiltWith to see if they're running a particular widget or software on the website? Are they running ads? Do they mention familiarity with Snowflake in their job descriptions for engineers? Well, that might indicate that you can reach out, assuming that they're using that tool, and maybe you sell something competitive to Snowflake, or for whatever reason, you're able to enhance their instance with your offer. That sort of signal can be really helpful in standing out, showing, again, from an account research perspective that you did your homework, but it also can help with segmentation and making sure we're hitting the right profiles with the right messaging and really gearing it to them instead of, again, a templated blast that clearly looks like a spray and pray operation. Jumping into the deliverability and technical setup stuff, number one, domains. If they're older, they're going to perform better. Now, again, you could get lost on this. So to keep it really simple, under 30 days, your worst deliverability. 30 days plus to about a year, good deliverability, decent, worthwhile when you think about setting up new campaigns and mailboxes. And then when you have those super aged domains that are 1, 3, 5, or 10 years old, that's where you're going to see the ability to maybe break some of the deliverability rules and still deliver to the inbox because that reputation is just so much higher. Cold email sequencers. The main thing you're going to want to focus on there is tools that support unlimited inboxes. So there's many that are going to penalize you or charge you per inbox. You want to stay away from those. You want to opt for sequencers that allow for unlimited inboxes. And the reason for that is because we're going to be embracing a multiple domain and multi-inbox strategy. So the challenge you're going to run into is that if you're sending from your primary domain and you're using tools like Outreach or Apollo or SalesLoft, they're only going to let you do so much volume a day before either the tool itself stops you. I think SalesLoft is around 250 emails max a day per rep, or Google and Microsoft are just going to start throttling your outbound. They're going to see that you're sending more than they'd like, and those emails start going into the ether. So you might have a sales development rep thinking they're being really productive, but in reality, they're just shouting into the void. So what do, right? We can't send too many from our email address on our work email. Well, you're going to need to accumulate some domains that are essentially lookalikes. So if you're Nike, go Nike.com, get Nike.com, appNike.com, etc. And we're going to sprinkle just a few inboxes on each one. 1 to 2 inboxes or 1 to 3 inboxes on each domain. Each one only sending 20, 30 emails a day per mailbox, per domain. But in aggregate, we're going to be able to send a ton of volume, right? Because maybe we have 50 domains and 100 mailboxes. Well, now we can send serious volume, but from the perspective of the spam filters, Google and Microsoft only see what that domain is doing at any given time. And so it's a little bit harder for them to see the true volume that you're sending. Now, you still need to do proper DNS configuration. You need to make sure that you're redirecting so that people don't get lost when they navigate to these domains. And you need to make sure that your volume, both on warm up and cold sending, is under control. Now, Scaled Mail takes care of all of the complex setup for the multi-domain, multi-inbox strategy, protecting your primary domain reputation, but we're going to integrate with all the cold email sequencers for you. We're going to handle all of this setup, all of your DNS records for you. You basically skip to being able to create campaigns and not worry about where am I going to get 100 or 200 or 300 or 1,000 mailboxes and how am I going to set them up in my sequencer in 2 to 4 business days. That alone is a major project, and we just let you focus on results. If that sounds like something you'd want to take a look at, click the link below the video to find out more about Scaled Mail. Let's jump into follow-up strategy. So the main thing about follow-up strategy that you want to keep in mind is speed to lead. You do not want to put all of the effort we just went through into crafting these campaigns and then have leads reply and someone replies days later and they've completely forgotten you. It's the same concept as ads. The faster you reach out to them, the more likely that it's going to result in a booking and a sale. So have someone call those leads as soon as they come in, if at all possible. If not, at least send the email to follow up right away. With respect to the sequences themselves, you only want to do 1 to 2 touches for cold outbound. Now, if they're in your funnel and they've filled out a form or indicated interest, completely different story. You should be following up with those people till the end of time. But before they've opted in or before they've raised their hand, you really want to limit it to 1 or 2 touches because it's an easy way to annoy people, and annoyed people click the "this is spam" button, and that is nuclear for your infrastructure. If you ever wonder why cold email inboxes could be all set up, working fine, and then a week later go completely to 0 deliverability, it's because you have too many people in a lot of cases clicking that button. So we want to make sure that we pop in with our offer, we make it as relevant as possible, and then we back away quickly if we're not getting the engagement we're after. So 1 to 2 touches to avoid the spam complaints and maintain the deliverability of your inboxes. And then if you need to hit those leads again, or you have a limited TAM, no problem. Hit them on an every 90-day cycle. So you can change the messaging a little bit, maybe change the pain points you're emphasizing, but you could recycle those lead lists, eliminating the replies and just going after the vast majority that didn't reply again with a fresh angle. I promise you, you don't remember cold emails you got from 90 days ago, and neither do they. Now, after watching this video, you have no excuses not to get started. Get those campaigns up and running, and I'll see you in this video right here.